Good evening, President Sarto, members of the board, and people of Carpentersville and elsewhere. I'm a proud member of the March 10 movement, and when we marched from Korea, we marched from Ireland, we marched from Asia, we marched from Africa, we marched from the Middle East, we marched from all over the world, because it's immigrants from all over the world that we're actually fighting for. And yes, we should actually support and allow all their languages if they're necessary. We marched to say that no human being is illegal, because that's what we believe. No human being is illegal because... and we marched to say that immigrant rights are workers' rights. People are worried about things in this country, and sometimes it's much easier to kick down than it is to kick up, and I think that that's what's happening. Immigrants are some of the most vulnerable people in this country, but they don't control foreign policy, they don't set wages in this country, they don't ultimately decide the fate of everybody that lives in this country. If people want change, they have to look up, not down. So that's one point. If people are worried about crime, I think we should take a look at Enron. If people are worried about crime, we should look at George Bush in this war. As far as I know, no undocumented immigrants decided to go to war with Iraq, and 70% of Americans are now against that war. We can't blame that on undocumented immigrants. And we know that that is the major issue in the United States today. If people are worried about falling wages, disastrous health care, and the privatisation of Social Security, which of course senior citizens are worried about, and future senior citizens, it's not undocumented immigrants that are in charge of that. This debate is about language, but everybody knows it's about much, much more. This is about racism. And I think that Carpentersville should send a message to Illinois and to the rest of the world that they're going to stand up and take a stand against racist laws. 100 years ago, when the Irish came here, fleeing political persecution, famine, they were told that they were scum, they were told that they weren't welcome, and we were told they were going to ruin the nation. That was watch gangs in New York, that was the reality, that's what people were told, and that didn't happen. And today the new Know Nothing movement, which is what they are telling us the exact same thing about our Mexican brothers and sisters, and I think we have to stand up and say we're not going to allow that, we're not going to allow that to happen. As the new Know Nothing movement is out of touch. We know now that the vast majority of Americans actually want immigrants to be allowed to stay in this country, no matter how they got here. That's what the LA Times says. That's what that's what the media is now reporting. That's what Americans are saying. And because it flows from a simple fact, people can see the contribution that immigrants make in this country, and we all know that this country's been built by immigrants from all over the world. So I would like to appeal to the members of the board and the decent-minded people of Carpentersville, because we know that there's many, many, many of them, that we take a stand and not support English-only law, because it's not just about English only. We know that this is about much more. Let's not bash immigrants. Let's take a stand for unions and against the Minutemen. Thank you very much.
Terry, next person.